Hey everyone, welcome back to our Ghost webinar series, where our goal is to provide you everything you need to successfully incorporate video commerce as part of your digital strategy. The Ghost team has been at this for a while, and we want to share with you some of the insights and tricks that we've picked up along the way over the years working with some of the most innovative brands out there. So just to recap, I'm Jess from the customer success team here at Ghost Retail. And in my role, I'm all about working closely with our merchants and our partners to find the best strategies for them when it comes to video. Joining me today from the Ghost team, we do have our marketing director, Brittany Rycroft. So why don't you say hello, Britt, and tell everyone a bit about yourself.
Hello, happy to be here today. Well, to summarize, I've been a marketer for well over a decade and focused on e-commerce in particular over the last several years. And one of my favorite things as part of this role is keeping an eye on what trends are happening in the retail and e-commerce worlds as a whole. And one of the biggest trends I could definitely point toward is the rise of video. Now, when you think about it, this makes total sense. Video is a huge part of our daily lives, whether you're making a FaceTime call to a friend, attending a Zoom meeting, or spending time on social media, watching TikToks or YouTube videos or Reels. And what's cool is seeing that e-commerce and retail are finally playing catch up and understanding how video can help enhance the online buyer journey. This is why I love working at Ghost, because we are very much at the forefront of this industry, which is becoming more and more top of mind for businesses of any size, whether it's a small business or a really, really big company, who are taking steps to incorporate video into their online experiences to enhance the customer experience.
I couldn't agree with you more, and we've really seen video move into more center stage and become such an important part of our everyday lives. So much so that it really is integral for any brand, retailer, or company to look at incorporating video content into their strategy in order to do things like attract viewer attention and convert from a passive observer to a more active buyer. From interactive video on websites and social media platforms to personalized one-on-one video calls, brands are using video in really innovative ways to enhance their customer experiences. Now, I just want to go over, before we get into the thick of things, a couple of quick housekeeping items before we get into, like I said, the meat and potatoes of today's show. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat at the bottom right of your screen. The last portion of today's webinar, we're going to dedicate to answering all of your questions. We're going to have a good Q&A session. So we'll also be having our moderators, though, answer questions in the chat as well. So, your questions will get answered. Additionally, what we're going to be doing as well is posting links to helpful content and resources that we have on the topics that we've discussed today in the show features, and that's going to be at the top right of your screen. And if you also want to show us some love during today's show, you can go ahead and click on the heart and let us know when we've come across content that you really love. All right, let's get into it. So Britt, I think it's safe to say that one of the biggest topics of the year, not just in e-commerce, but digital experiences as a whole, would have to be live streaming, which kind of brings us to today's hot topic: the secrets to live streaming success from the brands that are doing it best. Now, you're going to have to pardon my Dr. Zeus rhyming there. Sorry about that. Couldn't help myself. But Britt, can you go ahead and maybe tell us a bit more about what live streaming is?
Definitely. Live streaming can also go by one-to-many or live shopping, and typically involves a host or multiple hosts either broadcasting live or pre-recording a show and then broadcasting it live in an event that invites a bunch of people together to learn a bit more. During the event, audiences can interact with each other and usually with the hosts, either through chat or interactions or other elements that the live stream host might put into the show. And you are absolutely right. Live streaming isn't exactly new. It's been huge in the gaming community for years and started to rise to prominence on the retail and e-commerce side of things during the pandemic, when we were all very much online, very much glued to our phones, and retailers were looking for a way to connect with their customers face-to-face when they could no longer do so in stores in particular, and wanted to just kind of break through the clutter and get us engaged again. Now, we are obviously out of the pandemic, but we are still very much online and still very much looking for that elevated customer experience that was offered through live streaming during the pandemic. And so you're seeing more and more companies offering these types of elevated digital online experiences because it's just what consumers have been trained for. Today's buyers are also seeking community and connection with the brands that they shop with, and live streaming is a great way to do that. It's a chance to share your story, establish trust and engagement, and really bring home real experiences, real people, and real stories.
Yes, I definitely think that we're hearing more and more about the importance of personalization and authenticity and how brands are communicating with their audiences. And live stream events are becoming such an important way for brands to achieve these goals. These authentic experiences are key drivers of engagement and conversion, and ultimately, they're what makes a company stand out from the competition and helps them build long-term loyalty with their customers. With the internet, we have thousands of brands at our fingertips for any product or service. So live stream events are a way to stand out from the crowd and create confident buyers through engaging in educational content.
Exactly. And these live stream events are paying off. Last year, McKinsey & Company released a report that highlighted how live streaming events are generating 30% conversion rates, which is significantly higher than anything you would see with a normal e-commerce conversion rate.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so if you're as excited about live streaming as we are and you're looking at how to get started, well, you came to the right place. We are going across all the heavy hitters from across industries that have already begun their foray into live streaming. And we've distilled the top 5 lessons that you can learn from these innovative brands so that, when you go to plan your next live event, you can do so like a pro. Let's start with lesson number 1, plan with purpose. And we're going to be looking at JCPenney, Aldo, Tommy Hilfiger, NYX, and Philips for inspiration. To plan a successful live stream event, you're going to want to consider these key actions. First, define the goals and objectives for your event. Are you looking into driving awareness for a new product launch? Maybe sell out a limited time only drop. Educate audiences about your brand. Defining the goals for this event will help you create the foundation for the rest of your live stream. And that's what the rest of it's going to be built on, as well as the audience and the messaging as well. You're also going to want to identify who your target audience is and determine the key messages that you want to convey to that audience. So why don't we take a look at Tommy Hilfiger, and we're going to pull up a slide just so you can reference it. So Tommy Hilfiger, we all know the name. Tommy Hilfiger is an icon in retail with an extensive offering that covers everything from apparel and footwear to fragrances and home furnishings. The brand has used live shopping events to speak to their target audience, reinforcing messages that they want to really build upon around inclusivity and sustainability. These messages help inform the content that they create for their live streams, as well as who they get to host these events. Next point here, we're going to want to set a theme around your events and your hosts. So a really good example of this is JCPenney. JCPenney used their theme to help define their choice of influencer collaborations and show hosts. A revolving cast of influencers hosted their JCP live sessions, each of whom is an expert on the topic at hand for each session. Also, choosing an influencer partnership for your live stream shopping experience is about more than simply finding a subject matter expert and pointing a camera at them. If you're working with an influencer, you're going to want to work with influencers whose audiences mesh well with your brand. Their audiences are likely to tune in, so you want to plan to make sure they are a right fit for your products and your services. Another example here is fashion footwear and accessories company Aldo. So Aldo got this right by teaming up with a celebrity stylist, Mimi Cottrell, and TikToker Nate Wyatt for its first ever live shopping event. Viewers could browse Aldo's spring 2021 catalog while watching as Cottrell and Wyatt showed off their favorite Aldo products. With the event seeing an engagement rate of 308%, driving around 17,000 page views on Aldo's website, it's clear that the brand, influencers, and the audiences were an ideal match.
The goals, target audience, and theming are so important in an event, and as Jess just mentioned, it can have a huge impact on the event performance. Beauty brand NYX actually did this really well. So a couple of years ago, back in 2021, they were looking for a way to promote their fall 2021 collection. And they realized their audience was primarily Gen Z and millennials who had a lot of affinity for the 90s. So they hosted a themed 90s event, brought on some classic 90s stars like NSYNC's Lance Bass and JoJo, had them recreate different makeup looks that were kind of inspired by the 90s using the collection, and had the products linked during the stream that they were using in the event. And it's a perfect example of setting a goal, promoting the fall 2021 collection, understanding your target audience, and coming up with a theme that perfectly incorporates the products while serving up engaging and entertaining content that you can't get anywhere else.
Exactly. I totally agree. You really want to create something your viewers want to watch and that they can't get anywhere else. If you get it right, your viewers will naturally buy because they chose to attend the event and they were entertained and interested, not because you bombarded them with a bunch of products to look at. Now, this doesn't mean that you always have to feature celebrities or influencers as your hosts, but having a host that knows the content and that can engage with audiences really keeps things interesting and helps you hold the viewer attention for longer. So, to wrap up lesson 1, you also want to create a structured flow or outline to help ensure that things run smoothly. You want to rehearse and familiarize yourself with the content, transitions, and any demonstrations that you're going to be doing during the course of your live event. It helps to have things run a little bit more smoothly because you know how things are flowing into each other. Next, you don't want to neglect the pre-show prep. I can't stress this enough. Test your equipment, test your internet connection. You spent all of this time planning your event. You want to make sure that it's not wasted if you have poor video quality or if, you lose audio. Now, if you want some additional content inspiration for planning your live stream after today's show, we've dropped a link to our blog article that's filled with juicy ideas to help you get the ball rolling. Okay, now we've planned our live event. It's jam-packed with great hosts, engaging content, and an enticing offer. So naturally, audiences are going to flock to our stream, right?
Not necessarily. So one of the things I like to say about marketing in general is it's kind of the opposite field of dreams effect. If you build it, they won't necessarily come, which brings us to lesson number 2. Make sure you promote your event. In general, people aren't going to know to come if you don't tell them when it's happening or why they should be there. If you want to maximize attendance, you need to publicize your live stream across all of your channels, your website, your email, your social media. You want to leverage your existing customer base to get word of mouth out there and have as many people as possible attending your live stream. One of the biggest and best and boldest examples of doing live streaming right has got to be Apple. Apple events have been part of their marketing strategy for 20 years by now, and for good reason. These events come with a ton of fanfare, a ton of hype, a ton of media coverage, and a fair bit of secrecy to pique interest and get as many people as possible tuned in. Now, we might not all be Apple or have that kind of clout, but I promise you there are a few key things that they're doing that pretty much any brand can learn from. First, have a clear time and date attached to your event. Generally speaking, most of us can't drop everything to attend a live stream on the day that we find out it's happening, or even if we find out the day before. Giving people some advance notice gives them the chance to actually tune in and make it more of an appointment. Second, you want to tease the event without giving too much away. Write a press release or an email or a social post that spotlights what's in it for attendees without giving away the whole thing. For example, Apple has billed past events California Streaming or Peak Performance, and those are interesting and fun to speculate, but they don't tell you a whole lot about what the event's actually going to show you. At the end of the day, Apple's events are really just advertisements, and it's really crazy that a lot of people are willing to give up an hour or 2 hours of their day just to tune in and find out what's next. Now, of course, again, Apple has managed to curate this fan base over a very long period of time, but it's also really notable to highlight the fact that they found a way to disseminate this information and share it in a way that feels valuable and worthy of people spending that chunk of time with them and learning what's going on at Apple. Of course, finally, don't forget about replays, which, spoiler alert, is something that we are going to double click on a bit later. Even the biggest Apple fans in the world aren't necessarily able to attend a live stream right when it happens. Apple gets this, so they have an entire gallery of their Apple events available, as well as a podcast that's an audio version of all of their events that you can watch on demand at any time and play catch up. The same actually goes for this webinar. So if you're watching a replay of this, welcome. Okay, so moving on from Apple fangirling, I want to talk about the beauty brand Kiehl's. So another important point here is to make it really clear how and when, and also honestly why people should be attending your live stream. Kiehl's has done a great job of this. They've hosted live streams over a number of years where they have beauty advisors come on and talk about different skin concerns or issues. And one of the ways that Kiehl's gets attention to their live streams is by hosting or posting ads on social media, whether it's in stream or stories ads. They really want you to know, like, this event is happening. But they also coupled registration for the live stream with a special offer. People who sign up have the opportunity to either win these limited edition travel sets or to get a free skin consultation with Kiehl's experts. These activities incentivize the audience to sign up, but they also pull a nice 1-2 punch in that they're giving you a preview of what the event's all about and kind of hooking your interest, kind of like what we talked about with Apple.
Wow, that's a really cool idea to add the thank you gift to incentivize signups, and I really love how they incorporated it on their website. Our partners have also come up with some really creative ways to promote across their websites and social media accounts to drum up awareness. They've also used email marketing and event reminders to enhance attendance numbers.
Yeah, you can't forget about email and the importance of social or event reminders. We are all busy and things can easily slip our minds, especially for what is essentially an advertisement in the form of a live stream. So let's talk about Philips has managed to keep themselves top of mind in their live streaming strategy. Philips was hosting live streams to promote their air fryer, which also involves bringing on some star hosts to do live cooking demonstrations. Now, prior to the event, they did a few things really smartly. First of all, they built an audience out of email marketing, advertising, social media, and also tapped into their hosts' large networks, which is another great pro tip. Then to promote good attendance, they sent out a reminder 2 days in advance, as well as 5 minutes before the show started. And that message included a direct link to the event. So people aren't having to guess, like, is it on social media? Is it on their website? They're just taken right to the event and are able to watch and enjoy and see a cooking demonstration.
All right, so let's quickly recap what we've learned so far. Lesson number 1, we want to plan our live event, identifying the goals, the target audience, and the messaging and themes for the event. This will help us determine our hosts as well. Lesson number 2, we talked about promoting the live event. Promote your live streams across your channels and be sure to provide clear instructions on how people can attend. Tease your event to remind your prospective audience that A, your event is happening, and B, it will be chock-filled with content that they will be so interested in, so they better be attending. Okay, so we have the event planned, we've got it promoted, and now we're live. Our audiences have tuned in, and it's now our job to deliver an exciting show that's going to keep them watching. Enter lesson number 3, engage and interact with your audience. The beauty of live streams and what everyone loves about them is that it gives them the opportunity to engage with the hosts, ask questions, and leave comments. It's very interactive. It isn't passive viewing, it's all about the interactive component, and this creates that community around your brand. Now, you can encourage audience engagement throughout your live streams by incorporating elements such as a chat or comment features. As a host or a secondary moderator, you can respond to questions, comments, and feedback in the chat in real time. This makes participants feel that they're involved and they're valued. Take our webinar today as an example. During the show, you've been able to drop your questions into the chat for our moderators to respond to or for us to answer at the end of today's webinar. We're able to have a two-way conversation with you in a sense. Another way to keep audiences engaged is by incorporating that feedback or those comments into a Q&A session that's part of the show programming. And you can also feature special promotions or giveaways as a way to keep audiences at attention and viewing.
I actually want to double click on incorporating giveaways. So you have the opportunity to make your live stream must-see TV when you're incorporating like a giveaway or a big promotion. So to use an example, you could say, attend our live stream, get a huge discount code that's only active during the live stream, right? So you're creating urgency for people to both attend the live stream and actually make a purchase during the show as well. Another example would be giving people early access to a sale. For example, Black Friday. You could say, shop our Black Friday sale before anybody else. It's only going to be open during the live stream. You got to attend to get the link. And this is something you can actually do really easily with Ghost's live streaming platform, which is what we're in right now. You can take links that aren't publicly accessible, drop them into the live stream in real time, and it gives people the ability to watch and shop and learn all at once and makes your event both more exciting and also a sales driver, which is pretty clutch.
That's a really great point, Britt, and doing something like that really helps create that urgency and excitement for the people that are watching. Take Bloomingdale's, for example. They have hosted more than 50 live stream shopping sessions, and it's important that each one feels like an event. In one of those events, the brand sent macarons and cocktails to early registrants to enjoy while watching the stream. That feels more like attending an awards ceremony than shopping from home. Furthermore, the brand entered each attendee into a special giveaway. The first 50 customers to buy a pair of Jimmy Choos received a personalized fashion sketch. We've also been talking about Philips, and they did something similar. Live viewers could use a promo code to buy products at a discount.
That's a perfect example. And of course, don't forget your hosts are a really essential part of keeping audience attention as well. A good rule of thumb is to bring on people who are truly product experts or service experts and can be like a credible source in helping people learn more about your brand or your products. Generally speaking, people are attending live streams because they want to learn. So make sure the people who are on screen can help them do that. So take Estee Lauder. They've incorporated live streaming for their hugely diverse product portfolio, and they will bring on celebrity guests, distinguished makeup artists, dermatologists to talk through their products across different use cases or problems or skincare routines. You name it, they've got it. On a different note, I know we've talked about a lot of big brands and then bringing on huge experts, but I want to talk about a smaller one called Hill House Home. So Hill House, before their collection drops, will host live streams in something that they call the Nap Room, which is named after their cult favorite nap dress. And the expert that they have on hand there is actually their founder, who's sort of this celebrity influencer type founder named Nellie Diamond. And she'll be there to answer questions and talk about the drop. They'll have people modeling the looks that are about to drop so you can see these garments up close and builds a little bit of hype. But they also have a chat happening. And in that chat, they have multiple moderators that are answering questions, usually things about size and fit or fabric. But they'll also feed questions right back into that nap room environment so that people will get their questions answered in real time, or like they'll bring a dress out and show it to you up close. And it's a great way to kind of build people's baskets in their minds before you actually have anything drop on your site. So having that mix of on-screen and in-chat interaction is a really key part of any good live streaming strategy.
Yeah, that's a good point, Britt. You also need your hosts with the most to keep audiences entertained and interacting. Now, to allow viewers to do all of these things, you're going to need a live stream platform that empowers you with the right tools. Which brings us to lesson number 4. Choose your platform wisely. Whether leveraging social media platforms or creating your own live destination with a platform like Ghost, there are many different ways to go about live streaming. When picking your live stream platform, you want to make sure it aligns with what you're looking to incorporate in your event and how or where you want this content to live. For example, if you want to chat with your audience, direct them to linked products or resources and get their reactions to content that they love, all while doing this on your own website, then perhaps Ghost is the right platform for you. You also want to ensure that the platform you choose has an easy to use interface. It should be a breeze for your audiences to navigate and enable that interactivity, like using the chat or clicking into those featured links. A lag-free viewing experience is also a must. You don't want them getting caught up on poor or slow video quality.
100% to all of those points. I'd also add that if you're just getting started with live streaming and you're not really sure what you're doing, that's okay. Like, you should be experimenting. And ideally, you should be working with a platform that lets you experiment. Here at Ghost, we actually let our partners host their first show for completely free. We want you to figure out, is there any kinks in our content we need to iron out? Is there a certain idea that's going to resonate more with our audience than another? Is there a setup that we should be looking at? No matter what, we want you to figure out, how does live streaming resonate with our audience, or what's the best way for us to do that? Now, something I really want to point out, though, is, we let you do your first show for free. Live streaming is not a one and done deal. The best live streaming strategies understand that it's a long game, and it's something that you should be doing to create sort of appointment viewing with your audience and have them look forward to your content on an ongoing basis.
Exactly. And we don't just give you a login and say, have at it. Our success team works with our partners to craft their strategy around their live events and draft a plan when it comes to promoting and executing the shows. This also includes post-show activities as well. We really want to offer that all-encompassing live streaming solution. This brings us to our final lesson, which is please remember to follow up. After the live stream, you're going to want to follow up with your attendees by sharing additional resources and highlights or a recording of the event to really reinforce the value that they've just received. Make your live stream accessible from your website so viewers can continue to interact and learn from the content that you've produced after the cameras are off. Britt, do you have any other tips on what they should do for pre or post-show promotion?
Yeah, I can chime in here for sure. So we did touch on this briefly already when I talked about Apple and their replay library, but there's lots of other brands that are doing a great job in terms of re-engagement and making their live stream part of their overall content and marketing and messaging and brand strategy. Nordstrom is one of those brands, the massive department store in the US, of course. They started doing live streams back in March 2021 as part of the pandemic. They have an entire live streaming channel now where people can go and watch replays anytime that they want to understand kind of the latest trends and helpful advice and styling tips that Nordstrom's really known for. Thinking of some of the other examples that we've already talked about, Philips has pushed out replays of their live streams across multiple channels after they've aired. Estee Lauder has their live streams available on their site for on-demand viewing as well. On the Ghost live stream experience, your replays are hosted in a library of videos on your own personal channels, which lets audiences view them on their own timelines whenever they want. And if you're watching this live now, you're actually going to get a preview of this. So you're seeing the live experience now, and we'll send you what the post-show experience is like after. Finally, another great way to keep content working for you is by chopping it up. Your live stream content is long, right? And people don't always have the time to dedicate to it. You can easily cut it into small bite-sized pieces and make them shoppable for free using Ghost's free shoppable video tool, which allows you to tag products or other pages on your website from any piece of video content. So you could take a 1-hour live stream, pull out 10, 3-minute clips, and that's a ton of social content or web content that you can then make shoppable for free with us.
Yes, I love it. Make your content last longer and work harder for you. Perfect. Okay, so it looks like we're coming up on time, and I just want to make sure that we have time for some questions as well. I see a few have been rolling in through the chat, so let's go ahead and see what needs answering. Okay, first question. How do I get people to participate in my chat? This is a really great question and a really important one as well. So you want to make your chat part of the event experience by asking questions during the live stream and really encouraging people to respond to those questions in the chat. Another thing that is really important is you're going to want to have moderators. They can do things like ask warm-up questions in the chat, like where's everybody from? They can also monitor for additional questions or comments and respond to those as well, while your host is engaged with, performing the content. Another thing that moderators can do, which is really important, is block any bad actors that are behaving in a disruptive way in your chat. Today we've also got moderators in the chat that have been answering your questions and comments. So a really great example about how you can use the power of video coupled with the chat to really engage with your audience and have those two-way conversations. Okay, let's answer one more. How do I get more people to my live streams? Britt, I think this is a really great one for you. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, for sure. The number one thing is be consistent. Don't be crestfallen if your first show, not a lot of people show up. The goal of live streams is to create kind of this rolling thunder snowball effect of appointment viewing. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that your live streams have to be every Monday at 10 a.m., but it could. But when we're talking appointment viewing, if you think about somebody like Apple, who we've already spoken about, we know that Apple does an event every September. That's appointment viewing. If you think about Hill House Home, who we talked about, we know that Hill House is doing the nap room before every major collection drop. That's appointment viewing. Now, I've seen brands do strategies where they are live streaming 5 or 6 days a week at the same time every day, and they are getting hundreds of viewers out, and they are making mad sales during that block of time as well. So obviously the strategy is working for them. People are tuning in again and again. You have to figure out what strategy is going to work for you. And part of that is based on the resources that you have, what's resonating with your audience, and what's an appropriate frequency for that content to be produced. For some brands, it does make sense. You might have new products dropping every day that you could do like the daily drop. For other brands, it might mean, the first of every month, or at the start of every quarter, or before these specific sales. As long as you kind of establish this pattern and rhythm of like, we're going to keep doing this, keep tuning in, you're going to get people showing up to your live stream more and more over time.
Awesome. Thank you, Britt. And it does look like we're coming up on time here. So before we go, I just wanted to also quickly summarize the live streaming lessons that we've learned today. All right, lesson number 1, remember, plan with purpose. Define the goals and objectives of your live stream, identify your target audience, and determine the key messages you want to convey to that audience. Set a theme around your event and hosts, and create a structured outline or script to help move the flow of your live stream. And remember, don't neglect that pre-show prep. Test your equipment, test your Wi-Fi connection, make sure everything is good to go for your stream. Lesson number 2, promotion is key. And Britt really emphasized this well. You need to do some of these key activities in order to make sure your live stream goes off without a hitch and that audiences are there to attend. So if you want to maximize attendance, promote the live stream event across various channels. So use your social media, email marketing, and your existing customer base to help spread the word. You also want to make sure you have a clear time and date attached to your event and that you're giving people advance notice to prepare to attend. Another great thing to do is tease the event without giving too much away. Let them know if you're doing maybe a special promotion or a giveaway only for the live event. Tease what it is, but maybe without telling them what it is and forcing them to attend the event and find out. Also, you don't want to forget about the replays. Let people watch replays of your event on demand so you get more juice for the squeeze for your live stream content. Lesson number 3, engage and interact with your audience. The beauty of live streams, and like we said, what everybody really loves about them, is it gives you that opportunity to interact, to engage with hosts and with moderators, to do things like get your questions answered or take a look at any new products that are dropping. You can encourage this kind of engagement through your live stream by incorporating elements like a chat or a comment feature, and by using moderators to help warm up the audience and get the conversation flowing. Your hosts can also do this as well by asking questions or enticing for responses in the chat while on the video. And it also helps, to get some engagement by, adding some fun giveaways during your live stream to keep audiences viewing and engaged. Lesson number 4, we want to choose our platform wisely. When picking your live stream platform, you want to make sure it aligns with what you're looking to incorporate in the show, such as a chat, or how or where you want that content to live, such as, on your website. You also want to ensure that the platform you choose has a really easy to use interface and it's easy for your audiences to navigate to links that you share and to engage with the chat. You don't want them getting caught up or stuck on anything. And then finally, lesson number 5, like we covered, is follow up. After the live stream, you're going to want to follow up with your attendees and share additional resources and the replay from your event to make sure that they have access to that and they can reinforce the value that they're receiving. And you also want to make it accessible from your website. This is really important because you want to make it easy for past viewers and potentially new audiences to engage with your content and make that content work harder for you and, get more out of it, get more of that interest, more of that audience attention. You can do so by having this live on your website. And then you also want to make sure that when you're thinking about any post-show promotion activities, that the live stream events that you're doing also align with your broader marketing objectives and tie into your existing content strategy like Britt mentioned. Okay, deep breath. That was a long one. There was a lot of good information in there. And I just want to say a quick thank you to Britt for joining us today to talk about the innovative brands in live streaming. I had a blast, and I really hope that you will come back and do another one of these sessions with us. I also want to say thank you to everyone that was watching for your fantastic questions. Keep them coming, and you can drop them in the chat, and we'll also be sending you a link to this replay afterwards, so it'll be posted for your on-demand viewing pleasure. So if there's anything that you missed or you want to rewatch, you can do so as well. And then finally, we want to hear from you. So if you want to let us know what you'd like to learn from Ghost next, please feel free to drop your ideas in the chat. And who knows, we might be hosting our next webinar based on something that you suggested. All right, and there we have it. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining again, and have a great day. We'll see you again soon.